and welcome back to Rise and Align, where we talk about all things high vibrational. We are your hosts. My name is Demi.
And my name is Halie. Today we are talking about what it means to be successful. And before we get started, I would love if you took a pause and maybe wrote down or thought about or think about what it means to you to be successful. Because I have a feeling that might change once we finish our conversation today. But really think about it. What to you feels like success, or what do you need to have, do, or be to be successful? And once you've done that, come back and join us because we are going to get into it today. I feel like just to start off on a very basic level, success is not what society deems it to be, or it is not as achievement focused as society wants it to be or trains us to be, So I think that success is more intuition oriented. It's more about following your heart and following your true purpose and figuring out why you're actually here and what makes you the happiest. And I don't think that it is about necessarily how much money you make or the job that you have. And you can have all of those things, but not truly be successful. So I would love to hear what you think success is or what it means to you.
Well, the first thing I think is the only reason we ever want anything is because we believe that we'll feel better in the having of it. So I think really at the end of the day, all anybody wants is that feeling, the feeling of feeling better, the feeling of joy, the feeling of love. And I was thinking about it myself prior to filming, and I wrote down balance, because I think that if you have too much of a good thing, then you don't cherish it as much. I think that there has to be balance. And I also wrote freedom and joy. Balance, freedom, and joy. I think that's success, because when you have that balance, you might have daily things that you've got to take care of, whether that be a job or your pets or kids or taking care of your house or, whatever. I think that the human mind desires to keep busy at times, but also to have freedom and within time and financially. I find that the freedom to be able to do what I want with my time, to spend my time really appreciating, enjoying when I have time to be slow, when I have time to spend with my friends and family, and when I have time to take care of myself in my house, that is in a huge way freedom, in a huge way. I think so many people will work 9 to 5s and they might make a ton of money. Like some people are millionaires, multimillionaires, and they have no time. Is that true success? To me, I don't think so. I think I would be so unhappy. And I've seen people, like doctors and neurosurgeons and stuff, their jobs are very stressful and they make a ton of money. They can take vacations all over the world, and I'm sure that they're happy during that time. But for the most part, they don't sleep well and they don't have a lot of time to spend with their loved ones. And that for me would be a deal breaker. But at the same time, I think is it possible to be homeless and happy? Yes. I think that I myself, being mindful, could find moments of joy no matter how little I had. But I also think that there is such a struggle in lack, that you need the balance of the freedom and the time and the money, because, people can argue we need money. I don't know if we need money to be happy, but it sure does make life a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. What I interpret about that is it comes from within first. Yes, money can help happiness or help you fulfill your purpose and things. But if you're not embodying joy, abundance, freedom, happiness from within, having it externally doesn't matter.
Yes.
Because you're not actually connected to that truly. You're not embodying that truly. It doesn't mean much when you don't understand the value of it and truly feel it from within.
I absolutely agree. I don't think that true abundance is money. I think money is just paper. It's just a concept, a material possession. But true abundance it has to come from within, because you're not able to embody it externally if you can't embody it internally, you know? And I'm such a huge believer in that I also think that it's vice versa, right? So if you feel abundant and you're focused on, wow, I have so much free time and I have so much love in my life and I have so much balance in my life, I believe that when you're doing that and when you're allowing yourself to like follow your passion and really just enjoy your moments, that then abundance comes to you, because you're already a vibrational match to that. You know, it goes both ways. And I totally agree when you say like you can have it externally and still not feel it, and then it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. I feel like also, kind of going back to the idea of money, I think money is a form of abundance, because it can be it's an energetic frequency like anything else. And you have to, I think, be in tune with abundance to have a lot of money. But I think there's a lot of different nuances that go into that as well. But I think when you are living your purpose and happy and joyful and living out of abundance, that money will naturally come to you. And, you know, you can do it the hard way by forcing and by, you know, seeking all of these external sources of money outside of you, doing a career that maybe isn't fulfilling, or going to years and years of school that isn't fulfilling because you're chasing this idea of money. You know, you have to go to school to get the job to make the money. Or you can just listen and do what feels best to you, like truly trust your intuition to guide you, trust the universe to guide you along your path. And it might be different than the traditional route, but if you're listening and doing what feels good and living your purpose, like the money will come no matter what. Like it's impossible for it to not align with that if you're truly happy and just doing what is most valuable to you or feels the best to you. Like I think that money will naturally come, and it's more of just that energetic exchange, or like an energetic exchange from the universe.
Attuning yourself to that frequency. Yeah. So when you are doing what you love and you're, you know, following your passion and literally just following your highest excitement, and instead of chasing the money, because a lot of people will literally say like, you know, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer and you need to have this car and this house, and like that's what success is, the white picket fence life. But you can do that and still be unhappy. And I think like for me, success is joy. Like, so if you are following your passion and doing what you love and you're happy and you live a life full of joy and love, I think that not only does the money naturally come to you, but also you really don't even need it. Yeah. You're not worried about it.
You're not focused on it at all.
You're not focused on the lack of life. You're focused on the abundance already. So it doesn't even matter. You're already successful.
Yeah. And that is what success means to me, is like being happy regardless of external circumstances. Like being able to feel the joy and love and abundance here despite what's going on around you, and not letting that change your perspective on yourself and your life.
Yes. And I think that's so important to realize, because it's human nature to always be desiring, which is another thing I wrote down that I think is a part of happiness, is that we must be consistently expanding to be happy. Because I think that when we get stuck and we're not growing and learning and doing new things, that can take away from the joy of life. Like I think that we're meant to be consistently expanding.
Also, a lot of people don't know what that means, to like follow their path, or to, you know, do something that's non-traditional, or to even know like where to start with that. And I think society has trained us to be achievement focused, because they want us to be productive as a society for companies. Like, how can you be of service to these companies who can then make money, make more money? And it's never been about the individual employees. I feel like most companies don't value the individual people within that. So I just feel like our educational system is all, their values and intentions are all kind of messed up. But a lot of us have been trained, whether it be from like our educational system, our societal viewpoints, or just other family members to be achievement focused and to do X, Y, and Z, and to find validation in other people. A lot of people define their success based off of what other people think of them. Do you have this job that will please your parents? That would be, I think a lot of people would determine that as successful. Do you have the house and the car that makes you look successful to other people? How do other people perceive you? And I think it's so another version of like being so externally focused on, do you look successful? Because it's so 3D focused, so externally focused, and it's not like how you actually feel. I think a lot of people don't realize like that it's about how you feel inside. It has nothing to do with your external reality. So I think it can be tough to begin to realize where to even start when you're so focused on pleasing other people. And I know that's where my journey started, and I'm still pretty young, so I'm so grateful to have realized that so early. But it was like I stopped going to nursing school because I didn't want to do it just for someone else. Like, it didn't make me happy, and I just think it's so much about tuning in and like changing your programming that other people wrote for you.
Yeah.
It's like has nothing to do with what you want for yourself, or you didn't like write this programming. It's someone else did. And you have to like get to the bottom of it in order to like actually reprogram yourself to live how you want to.
I think it has so much to do with truly getting to know yourself. Like, I think so many of us don't really know who we are. We're told who we are our whole lives. We literally learn it on a subconscious level. We learn our values, and then we see other people's values as what should be important to us. And like, we use that as external validation. Well, my parents think that if I become a doctor too, that then I'll be successful. And if I don't, then I'm a failure. And I think that leaves so many people feeling despair.
Or like, what's wrong with me if I don't want that? I'm a failure if I don't want that same thing.
But it also, it's funny because it's like parents have this like human nature to control, right? And because it's out of love. It's because they want the best for their children. But in doing that, they forget that though our children are a part of us and they come from us and we love them unconditionally, they are their own soul, and we are all individual, and we all have different desires and hopes and dreams and loves and likes and wants. We're different, and we're meant to be different. And to truly love someone is to accept those different parts of them, and to encourage them to do what they want and what they love, no matter what that means for you and your relationship together,
Yeah. I think also most of the time I think it comes from goodwill or like good intentions, but it's like also this parent may not have completed their dreams or lived their dreams, and they want that for their kid. They want their dream to come to fruition through their children. But even if I think the kid did do that, and the kid would probably be unhappy, but you're not going to find satisfaction I don't think that it would be fulfilling, because you're not actually living your purpose. You're seeing someone else live your purpose for you. And I just don't think that would be as fulfilling.
I agree. And I think that there are probably a lot of people who are in that scenario where it happened, right? Like, say 2 doctors had a kid and they told their kid that they need to be a doctor, and the kid grew up and became a doctor and they're still not happy. I don't think it makes parents happy to see their children unhappy. At the end of the day, they might think that's what's best for them, but they don't know, because they're not them. Only we can feel what is right for us, and it's tricky, especially before the age of 18, because we're forced to go to school and learn this and that, and we become friends with those who are around us, rather than as an adult, you can decide, what do I really love? Like, you can take the time to get to know yourself, which I think a lot of people don't do, especially before, going to college and getting a job and living the white picket life fence, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So the white picket life fence, you guys know what I mean.
Yes.
But we don't take the time to get to know ourselves and to ask ourselves, like, what do we truly want? What do we truly love? I remember being, 16 to 18 and my family constantly being like, well, what do you want to do? Well, what do you like? And I was like, I don't know. Like, I like chocolate. And I don't know how to make a career out of that.
And you're 16.
Yeah. Like, you're still a child. Your brain isn't even fully developed yet. And on top of that, say that I were like, I want to be a chocolatier. Do you know how many people would have told me there's no way in hell that you're going to make it? Like, you can't do that because the money's not there. Because the generation before us, especially, and the generation before them who lived through the Great Depression, were so programmed to focus on the money that they didn't think about what they truly wanted. And I think that the whole point of being here in physical is to enjoy as much as possible. I think that physical touch, like being able to touch and being able to experience physical sensation and taste food and smell flowers, I think that that is the biggest blessing. And that when we are allowing our subconscious programming to control our decisions in life, we are giving up the benefits of enjoying life.
Yeah. I also, you had said we don't take the time to get to know ourselves. I think as a society, we also don't encourage children to do that for themselves. And as a result, it will continue creating adults who have no idea how to find themselves or who they are, or to, use their creativity and imagination. I think our education system, we put kids into school and fill them with, we're all different, but we're all learning the same things. And I just don't think that, our creativity and imagination are being utilized to the best. And I feel like even kind of suppressed as they move through the education system. But I met this woman the other day. She is a yoga teacher and she does retreats all over the world. And she has a 9-year-old. And she thought, when she had a kid, she's going to have to settle down, get roots, stay somewhere, and not be able to live this life anymore. And I think that she had did that for a little bit, but now this little girl, she's homeschooled. She's been kind of traveling around with her mom and experiencing all these different cultures. And, she's old enough where the mom can be like, do you want to continue doing this? Do you want to settle down somewhere? Or like, and she was like, no, this is awesome. I want to keep traveling with you. Because I feel like being so young, a lot of traveling could be overwhelming. But this little girl was like, no, this is so cool. So she's been able to like take this little girl around the world with her and homeschool her. And she's still getting her education, but she's also like seeing her mom do this really cool, unique path. She's learning from all these different cultures from such a young age. Like, I think it's so cool, and I wish that more kids could kind of grow up like that. And I'm really excited to see, like, not that I'll know this little girl, but I'm just curious, like, what her life is going to look like, because she's being trained to like allow that creativity and imagination and different ways of living and being, not just like this same structured way of living that everyone just seems to naturally follow.
Yeah. Wow, that is amazing. And that is really the dream for me. That is really the goal. I think that the expansion that comes from traveling and experiencing different cultures and different people and different lifestyles is infinitely beneficial. And I would argue more so than going to school every day from 8 to 3, Yeah, I hope that our educational system develops. I think that we spend too much time in school around other people learning the exact same thing and not enough time learning who we are and what we want to do. And I remember Oprah had an episode a long, long time ago, like 20 years ago. And she was talking about how, and she had like some specialists who studied psychology and stuff. She was talking about how we know what we want to do from a really young age. So when we're about 4 years old, whatever we want to do or be at that point is what like our true passion is. And if that we do that, if we pursue that, then we will ultimately become really successful. And I think that because our parents and their parents have been taught to focus on the money and to not believe in themselves, they taught us the same thing. But imagine if at 4 years old you said, Mommy, I want to be an actress. And so your mom started learning, you know, how could that happen, and started maybe putting you in classes, or, you know, taking videos of you doing things and just posting it on TikTok, or, you know, submitting it to different commercials and stuff. Like, imagine if from the age of 4 you started learning what you loved to learn, how successful you'd become living your passion, rather than, well, no, you need to go to school for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week with all these other kids that you have nothing in common with.
Right. And, you know, I feel like even more so than me, like the more factual pieces of this, but like at that time, that's when your brain is like most
permeable.
So that is like what is being programmed into your mind, you know, what's becoming normalized for you. So all of these kids going to school basically 9 to 5 is just training them that that's normal, and that to continue perpetuating the 9 to 5 lifestyle.
Yeah, we're trained from such a young age, and I think it's a shame because when children are really young, a lot of times adults think they're too little to learn that. But the opposite is true. Because our brains are like sponges until the age of 7, we can learn a lot more, a lot faster, and a lot easier. So if a child, you know, wanted to travel, or their parents traveled at that age, they could learn different languages super easy, way faster. And if we started teaching the children what they wanted to learn, instead of saying, oh no, you're too little, you can't do this, they would actually become a lot more educated. I want to say intelligent, but that's not the word, because they are intelligent. We're just not allowing them to learn. We're not allowing them to expand on their own terms.
Right. And if you think about it, even when you're young, like you're more geared towards like, I love art or art class, or I love math class, or I love this. And if we, instead of like making everybody learn, I get this to an extent, like having an overview of each area, but letting them really dive into that area and then grow. Like, I think that, you know, even in our last episode, we talked about the importance of like focusing on one thing, and how, you know, if you put all of your effort and focus into one thing, it's like going to be successful. There's no way that it couldn't be. Like, if this child was able to explore this path starting at such a young age and not getting distracted by all of these other things, like how amazing that could be for them, and like how good they could be at it, whatever it is that they want to do or pursue.
I think it would allow them to expand into themselves much more quickly, as well as to become highly successful in whatever field that was in. Because for the listeners right now, if you, well, actually, whether or not you are doing something that you love, imagine how much better at it you would be if you would have started at 4 years old learning about that topic, you know, learning how to be good at it. Because the more you love something, the more you want to learn about it, and the better you become at it. You know, there are so many things that I'm like, oh, I wish I would have started that sooner, you know. And the longer, like, I've been doing makeup for like 6 years now, and I've been consistently learning, you know, and also consistently learning how to be a better business owner. And each year becomes better. But had I started that at 4 years old, like, I'd probably be living a much different life, you know, like I could be way more successful already. Yeah. So I do wish that we encouraged children to follow their dreams. And I think that, you know, at the age of 4, we're not yet taught to not believe in ourselves. And I think that that belief in yourself is what changes everything. It's what makes everything possible.
Yeah. I think that is what allowed me to start exploring a little bit different of a path. Finally being like, okay, like I get society wants this for me, or my whoever wants this for me, but I'm going to have faith enough in myself to like explore a different path and see what happens. And like having that belief and just unwavering faith towards yourself to like go towards something that actually matters to you or that feels good to you. That's what allowed me to go down that path.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think too, you know, whether you're religious or not, to have faith in something, to have faith in something bigger than yourself. Like, even if you're like, you know what, I'm not at that point yet, I'm kind of insecure, don't know that I could quit my job tomorrow and be successful in my passion. To have faith will allow you to move in that direction with ease, you know, and to be brave is to still have fear, but still take action towards that. And I think that's something that we have to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I never really thought about it that way, but it is true. And I've never thought about myself as brave or courageous, confident, but I think about like the decisions that I've had to make over the last like few years, and like just the changes that I've made. It does take bravery and like courage to do those things. And I'm still growing and expanding and like paving my way towards what I want. But I'm continuously taking action to get there. And I guess I didn't realize that until now. I just changed like how I look at myself to stop this conversation.
Good. Oh, good. Yeah, no, you are. I was actually thinking about you myself yesterday, and I was thinking, like, say if I had to move to Italy in a few months, like, what will I do? Like, I don't have a client base there, you know, like, I'm kind of nervous. And then I thought, you just up and started a new great job working from home. Like, you just did that easily. And I thought there are so many people who say it's so hard to find a job, and it's so hard to find a job that caters to what I want to be doing and what I like, and, you know, that would move me towards whatever my passion is. And they just like use it as an excuse to not move forward. And I was like, if she can do it, I can do it. Like, it'll be okay. Like, that does take bravery and confidence and faith. It really does.
That's something that at some point I would love to share, like how to manifest the career that you want, or to get out of or create a new situation for yourself, because it is something that I work towards for a while. And it's been like a journey, because it's like every step along the way, when I get to a point where I'm like, I'm not happy in this job anymore, I get really clear about what I want and what is right for me at that time, because I knew I couldn't jump from where I was to like where my desired goal is, like overnight. Like for me, it's been kind of like a step along the way, because there's so much that I know that I have to learn before I can be that, or to fully embody that version of me. Every time I make the decision, like, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I want, and then it comes to me, and it's like, I know, I'm like, this is no longer serving me anymore. And it's not immediate, but I have been able to, in the course of less than a year, be like, this is no longer serving me, this is what I want. And then to make that come to life for me is like, I've been able to do that. And it makes me, it's really happy. And there are times where you're like, oh my gosh, like, you do get kind of stuck in this isn't possible. There's not, I'm not as good as this person as this. Like, there's no way these people are going to like see me as a valuable person, or like, how would they ever pick me out of the millions of people out there? Like you do get stuck in like these thoughts of doubt about yourself, but it is the faith that always kind of drives you through that and like allows you through that. And if I've had opportunities that have come up that I know that I should have probably taken, because that's like what the traditional route is, and like what society would deem as like what you should do next. And like, I've actually turned those down. I've turned down opportunities because I know in my heart that it wasn't right. And I think that that's a major part of being successful, because you're listening to yourself and you're doing what feels good, like, to you, and just following what feels good to you. Like, and being able to do that is success to me, like listening and doing, but ultimately it all matter. Like, all that matters is like having faith and believing in yourself and doing what makes you feel good. Like, that is what's going to bring you to success.
I think at the end of the day, it's so important to realize that success is more of a feeling than it can ever be anything external.
And not accepting less than what you want or what you deserve. Like, you can have what you want. It is already there. It's just a matter of like tweaking your vibration and your emotions and your belief and faith to like call it upon yourself.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes things can feel so intangible because we are stuck in this 3D world. We're stuck kind of, you know, with our ego and very like human look on things. But like you said, having faith in something bigger than yourself, when you're able to take that step back and look at things from a different perspective and like look at it from the universe's perspective or source or God, anything's possible. And you can literally have whatever you want, and like don't let yourself give up on those dreams.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's so important. And I really loved that because I've experienced really similar things where I, you know, started to hate a job and realized that like something needs to change. And then I felt like fear, like, oh no, like how am I going to get another job and a better one? And I'm scared to do it and I'm scared to quit. And, you know, like the fears come up. But you don't have to jump from A to Z. You can go A, B, C, D, you know, like just take little steps in the right direction and then like it will naturally work out for you. The next step, the next most obvious step will show up. And as long as you're moving in that right direction and in the direction that feels good, like you're already successful. And I think it's so important to remember to enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Yes, that's so important. Like for me, getting this new job isn't making me successful. Like I already know that I'm successful and I'm happy and I love my life and it's so good and I don't need this job to feel successful and I don't need the job that I have now to feel successful. It's, you are success. It's not like you have to have something to be successful, and having that acknowledgement of like, again, it's from within. It's nothing external that brings that to you.
And to be honest, for me, like I love getting better at things. Like somebody asked me like, oh, are you good at playing, like we were going to play ping pong. And I was like, well, it might take me a little while, but I'm very competitive. So yes. Like I love to get better. I love to learn. Like I do love enjoying the journey, you know, and the process towards what it is that I want.
Yeah.
And I also like, I never fail to mention Russ or Jay Shetty in a podcast.
But between the two of us,
I am your biggest fans. Dr. Joe Dispenza.
You know, I haven't talked about him in a couple episodes. I kind of miss him. I was looking at his book today and I was like, I'm going to have to read you again. I miss you.
Right. But anyways, so Russ in his new album talks a lot about how he was feeling empty. You know, even though he's a multimillionaire, he has a private jet, he has a Rolls Royce, he bought his mom a house. Like, he's doing all the things that our society really deems as success, and he still was feeling empty. And he had an interview with Jay Shetty and they talked about it on there, and I thought that was so relatable and so wonderful to hear, and especially to hear somebody who has all those material things say that's not what made me happy. Like that's not what true success is. Like I wasn't even allowing myself to be happy or to enjoy what I had. And he also said that a lot of the goals he set were based off external validation from his dad. And I think that is so real for so many of us.
Yeah, I love him. And I love that he is so aware.
Yes.
Of his journey and so willing to share his journey. And I think that he's realized, that is kind of part of his purpose.
Yeah.
And so I think awareness is another important factor in any area of your life. If you're trying to manifest something or, become better or expand, like awareness, I think is always the first step in like thinking about how you feel now. Like how do you feel and what do you want? And then just taking your awareness into actionable steps.
Yeah, I think that's massive. And I think that asking yourself every day how you feel, and I would even make it a practice, like when you wake up and when you go to bed, like how do I feel? Both physically and emotionally is so huge, because like for us, we talk about emotions are energy in motion, and in order to manifest what we want, we must feel as though we already have it. We must be a vibrational match to that which we desire. So emotionally, if you feel like you're focused on lack, you're unhappy, you're stuck, like whatever that might be, yes, then it's a sign that something has got to change. And then you had said in a previous episode, ask yourself why. Where is that coming from? What beliefs are causing that to be a thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And also asking yourself physically how you feel, because your body expresses your emotions. So if you're like really sore, really tired, you're ill, you know, anything like that, like that's a huge sign that something's got to change.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, like, your emotions are your guidance system.
Yes.
Like, noticing how you feel, having awareness of how you feel, you can then transmute that, or you can then make decisions that allow you to feel more in alignment and feel better and happier and more joyous. And we really go into detail on that in our very first episode about alignment, if you haven't listened to it, but it's a really good one. But I think, to me, being successful is being in alignment.
Yes. Yeah.
That I think that is truly what success is. And again, like, if you're not familiar with being in alignment, or what alignment is, or how to get in alignment, please listen to that episode, because I think that is a good place for people to start.
Absolutely.
If you're like not sure, like.
And then ironically, episode 2 is yoga. Sometimes if you're thinking about like physically, I feel really like sore or tight or anything like that, a wonderful way to transmute that energy is through yoga, which we talk a ton about. But sometimes being in alignment is, and self-love as well, is doing what will make you feel better. You know, is a lot of people will get sick and they'll complain, oh, I feel so sick, I feel so bad, and they won't do anything about it. I remember being a kid and being like, Mom, I'm so sick, I don't feel good. And she'll be like, well, take this medicine. And I'll be like, no, it doesn't taste good. Well, then be sick. You know, and it's like, we have to make that decision to do what is good for us, to do what will make us feel better, to do things that are healthy for us. Like, it's those moments that we choose to do something that will make us feel better. That's what changes everything. Like, that's what puts us in the direction of success.
And kind of bringing this full circle, you had talked a lot about balance at the beginning. Having the balance, even balance of masculine and feminine energies, or the balance of like having structures and routines in place that allow you to feel good. But also giving yourself the freedom to explore and create, and, you know, the space to do things that feel good. And then, you know, you also have like your real life things that you have to do. You know, bringing the kids to school, going to work, cooking dinner, like you can balance, like finding balance amongst those things, but also finding
the balance between desire and action, the balance between appreciating what is now and what's to come, you know,
the balance between the 3D and the 5D.
Yes. Spiritual and physical. Yeah.
It is a lot about balance, because we are humans too. And if you are having trouble with action, like maybe you have to connect more to the human aspect of yourself. But if you're having trouble with like creativity or inspiration or intuition, like you have to connect more to the spiritual realm, and like, you know, connecting to your intuition and listening within and finding yourself. Just, it is so much about balance.
And I think that a great place to go if you're like, I'm not sure if I'm balanced, we have 2 episodes. One is on masculine and feminine energies, and the other is yin yang and polarity. And those are both really great representations. But I think that another way to just a visual of imbalance, right? I see a lot of people who work really, really hard, and they are very action focused, and they may be materially successful, but they're imbalanced because they're unhappy and they're not spiritually and emotionally happy. And then it's the same where some people, you know, they're artists and their whole apartment is a mess, and their hair is a mess, and their outfit's a mess, and they're painting all day every day, and they might be having a great time doing that, but they're so broke they're starving. You know, there's got to be the balance between it's got to be inspired action. Both.
Yes. This is silly, but when you're like describing, you know, these scenarios, I have like zodiac signs that like come up when you say those things, and which is kind of like a limiting thing, like to be like, this zodiac sign is this and this zodiac sign is that. But also the importance again of like astrology in helping us find balance, because each zodiac has like different energies that they embody, and like they align with the 4 elements. And so finding alignment amongst all the elements, or all, the different energies, is important, like balancing those, But yeah, my brain is just like, starts thinking astrologically about it. But anyways.
Okay, who's the starving artist?
Probably a Pisces. I don't know.
Yes, yeah.
And then
it's
Capricorn is the
Pisces. I see him. And I was going to say, and the Capricorn is the workaholic.
Virgo could also kind of be that, but
yeah,
we have embodied a lot of this and like went through a lot of this ourselves. And I'm like in awe of us and proud of us.
I am too. Yeah. I think this episode for me too helped me realize like how far I have come in the right direction, and like how we are working towards what we truly want and love doing. Like we're not doing this like, oh, gotta film another podcast. We're like, oh yay, what are we gonna talk about today? And it just flows and it feels good and it's fun and it's good for us. And I hope it's good for you guys too.
Yeah. We changed our setup today, which you guys probably noticed if you watch the videos. And if you do, thank you. But I feel like it allowed me to kind of get lost in the conversation, and almost forgot that like it wasn't just us talking together, because we do have conversations like this. But yeah, I'm just so happy that you guys are able to come along with us and have these conversations with us. And we'd love to hear what you have to say about this. And it's super fun, and we're so grateful for this community and being able to raise the vibration.
Absolutely. I want to say too, so part of the reason that we decided to switch up our video or our perspective is because we were talking about last episode, change and fall, and I changed around my living room like I said I was going to, and it kind of changed the energies in here, and it allowed me to change perspective. And I think that it inspired this conversation. But if you are feeling stuck, changing your perspective is a wonderful place to start.
Yeah, it really is. I did a yoga flow for Mercury retrograde, which is almost over, but I did like a wide leg forward fold in it. And it was like, in Mercury retrograde, you can feel frustrated about things. Like there's a lot of things that might come up that make you feel frustrated. But, changing your perspective on the situation can help you get rid of those frustrations. So, in this standing forward fold, I was outside at the time, and I was looking, you're looking what was behind me, and it happened to be like trees and the sky, and you're seeing it upside down, from this forward fold. So you're seeing the forest upside down, the trees are upside down, and the sky's at the bottom. And it was just like representative of like changing your perspective and seeing things from a different view. And, there is always that equal and opposite perspective to things, and you can choose what you see and choose how you feel. And, it's always the choice.
100%. And I think that changing your perspective can be as easy as laying on the floor. Honestly. Yeah. Well, on that note, shall we pull a card?
Yes. Again, letting the universe weigh in on our conversation today. We're doing the Arthurian Tarot deck, which is a favorite of ours. And we'll just see what comes up for us. Okay. That was easy.
Stone 3. A standing stone stands near a plowed field. On a distant hill is a chalk figure. The smith was honored above all men by the Celtic peoples. As well as a craftsman, he was often a magician as well. That's exactly the balance between, the spiritual and physical, like the action and the emotion. Upright, which I did pull it upright. It represents construction, craftsmanship, professional mastery, practical skills, good organization and skill brings honor, creative instinct. For me, that makes me think so much like one, enjoying the process of moving towards our desires and enjoying learning more and
gaining the skills along the way. Like again, you can't jump from A to Z.
Yes, but mastering our practice and enjoying that, enjoying getting better at it. And, always doing our best, as the 4 agreements say. Reversed represents mediocrity, poor work, or reputation. I often find a lot of people who are really unhappy with their jobs, and because they don't love their jobs, they're not putting their best foot forward. They're not doing their best. And there is reward in always doing your best. There is reward in mastering something that you don't love. It is still worth it. And sometimes, even if we don't love our job, if we become really good at it, they, might start paying us more, but we might also get offered a job that we would like more, or we may, make good connections because we're being kind and personable with those who we're working with. So it is really, really important that even if you are feeling stuck or in a situation that isn't ideal for you or isn't your passion, to still be doing your best and still be putting that energy into your work, because you always get back what you put in. And the question is, what is your best work? Couldn't be more perfect.
That is perfect. And I feel like, it's either you have to do that or you have to get out. Like, you have to change the situation. You can't be in that job anymore if you can't like do your best and change the perspective in the meantime.
Yep.
And I think that naturally, like, if you are doing what's aligned with you, or what feels best for you, you're naturally going to do better work.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Well, on that note, always do your best. We love you so much. Thank you so much for being here, for sharing your time and energy with us.
Yes. We would love if you would share this episode. We are all about raising the frequency, and sharing positive outlets of news and knowledge. So share this with a friend, do a review. We would love to hear what you have to say about this episode, and you can check out some of the other ones that we've suggested throughout, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.